You ready? Good morning, everybody. I'm Candace Kita, and welcome to Sway TV. Now, you guys, thank you so much for staying tuned with me. And because I'm coming to you live, that's right, I'm coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles. It is 7:18 in the morning on a Thursday. Please leave a question, a comment, a suggestion. We would love to hear from you in the chat. And, you guys, we have an amazing guest today that I'm about to bring on. She is an actress, she's a director, she is a producer, she is a writer. You've seen her in so many projects here, and we're so excited to have her today. So I'm just gonna bring her on to chat with you guys. I wanna welcome Mika Boorem. Mika, how are you?
Hi, good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, awesome. Well, you guys, we woke up Mika super early in the morning to be with us here. So thank you so much for being here with us. Now, why don't we just start at the beginning? Now, were you a child actress?
That's right. Yeah, so I started acting at 7 years old, child labor. But I've had a blast with it. And over the years, I've done over 40 different television and film projects, including things like Blue Crush, The Patriot, Along Came a Spider, Jack Frost, Mighty Joe Young, to name a few.
That's crazy. So, now, how does somebody get started in the industry at 7? Like, did your mom or your dad get you in it? Did you want to get in it, or you saw people on TV and were like, I want to do that?
It was one of those things. We were traveling around a lot, and it just sort of came up as an opportunity, and I seemed to really like it. And so it was one of those things that the momentum gets going on it, and then the ball just keeps rolling. So the first project I did was this movie called Education of Little Tree, which was produced by Robert Redford. And we filmed that in Montreal, Canada, and they had all of these beautiful authentic sets that they had built, with where they were drying the tobacco, because it took place in the 1920s, and these old candy shops, and I was in a toe sack dress. And so I think that experience really set it off, because I was like, wow, this is cool. I feel like I'm in, some sort of amusement park bubble.
How funny. So you grew up basically going to sets, going to auditions. This was very normal for you.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that acting is definitely my DNA with all of that, because I started so young that it's even if I ever tried to veer off in different directions, it's just a part of who I am, because it's basically as what I was raised doing as much as anything else, as much as anyone would be raised going to their regular school classes and doing their after school programs.
Well, that brings up a good question. Did you attend regular school, or were you schooled always were you homeschooled? How did you go to school when you were going to auditions and everything?
So I was schooled on set. I was schooled on set with tutors. And so it's like a correspondence program with a regular school. And then I was on set. You have the tutors, you do 3 hours a day. Sometimes they stack those hours. You'll do 6 hours a day, so you can do less hours on another day. But yeah, I grew up traveling, going to school on these sets, which is so odd, but such a unique experience. I'm thankful to have had this sort of different life with that. And then I always had great on-set teachers who tried to incorporate things into studies, dependent on where the location was. And incorporate those, or if the movie was a historical piece, like when I did The Patriot, we were on, they tried to make things as authentic as possible. So we had, a lot of the same fabrics and stuff that were used back in the day, or the old sets and stuff. And so they would take us through and try to teach us specifically about what was available around us too, that, you could tangibly be in touch with. So I got, different education with that, for sure.
That's so crazy. So you kind of had an out of the box educational experience. You didn't go to traditional school. How did you build friendships with kids? Most kids go to school. Did you build friendships with other child actors, or just kids in the neighborhood?
Yeah, a lot of child actors. It's actually really funny, because I watch stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that person. Actually, I had a discussion with a friend the other day And he was like, "Oh, I watched this movie and I was curious about that child actor." And I was like, "Well, who is it? Tell me." Like, I probably know them because I think that, I think acting, especially, back then, was such like a unique experience. Because if you think about it too, like now there's a lot of these different avenues for platforms for people with acting. You have like the YouTube stars and you have the TikTok stars and this and that. And so I think that maybe it's a little bit more broad with some of those, but instead, like back in the day, like with specifically acting, it was such a tight knit group that you pretty much knew everybody. So, which is kind of fun. It's its own, social group.
Well, yeah, like that Soleil Moon Frye documentary when she was talking about there at that time there were only like a handful of kids doing it, so everybody knew everybody, and it was just such a tight knit group, and they kind of grew up together. That was their school in a way.
Yeah.
That was all their friends. So what was it like when you were a kid, and because you were in such high profile movies, did people recognize you like when you went to the mall or whatever?
Yeah. Hey, how about those malls? Will we ever get one of those again?
I
know. Oh my gosh, it's such a different time now. Like across.
Seriously.
The board. Yeah. I think people recognize me from some stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's a whole new world now, right? We've got the masks. There are no malls. It's.
I know. It's totally weird. But what you were saying actually brings up a good point, because you say now it's so different. Before it was just a handful of kid actors, and now you have social media. So what do you feel? I mean, how do you feel now about creating your own content? Do you create your own content on social media? You're also a producer, a director, a writer. How have you gone into that avenue?
I think it's so cool now that, all these distribution options in terms of like, if you want to, put stuff up on YouTube, if you want to put stuff up on TikTok, if there's just so much access to find like your niche audience. I think it's really an amazing time in that regard, that you can make things for all these different groups of people. And I have a lot of people ask me, like, I want to get into acting, what should I do? And I always think it's, it's so great that you can make, videos for YouTube and get them up on there and, try to find your audience and your people that you connect to. And that's sort of like my first advice if someone wants to move into that. And then for me, right now, I did like during the pandemic, it was funny because I was on a 200-acre ranch in Arkansas.
Wow.
So I was able to work a little bit, but mostly I was working out. You had to hike a whole mile up a hill in order to make a cell phone call. So
oh my goodness,
like limited. Yeah. But I started making some of these fun little YouTube videos while I was there, and I was like, oh, this is a blast. So I made some comedic ones of those. But actually what I was able to do while I was there, which was really fun, very enjoyable, is I shot a music video that I directed. And so there's an artist, Travis Tidwell, who's out of Nashville, Tennessee. And so he's with Dolly Parton's group. And so they came up, and then I had my crew come up from Los Angeles, and everyone drove because it was right mid-pandemic, and everyone met in Arkansas, and we kept everyone in these pods, and we were able to shoot the music video. And the music video turned out really well. We got it on country music television. And then just 2 days ago, we had it come through where the music video has been nominated for a Josie Award, which the Josie Award is the biggest independent music award. So for music video of the year. So that'll be exciting. And then we'll know around September about if we won or not, or what's going on. But just so cool, and such an honor to have this music video that I directed to be included in that.
That is awesome. That is so cool. And Johnny Kong says, hello, Mika.
Hi, Johnny Kong. How are you?
So you guys engage us. Mika's here right now. She's talking about her career. And be like Johnny. Ask a question, a comment, leave a suggestion in the chat. And, a little bit later on, we're going to be looking at some of her awesome products that she has done. These projects that are available right here on Amazon and Amazon Prime, and DVD and box sets. You can watch them right away on Amazon Prime. And some of her shows you can watch for the weekend if you want to binge watch. It's a perfect time. What were you doing? I just have to ask, what were you doing on a 200-acre ranch in the first place?
hiding out, hiding out from coronavirus. It was so funny because when all this started going down, I had actually been in Mexico because we were going to do a theatrical distribution for the film in Mexico for Hollywood.com, which is a film that's now up on Amazon that I wrote, directed, and produced, and I act in it. And so we were in Mexico because we'd been doing a press tour there, and we were going to release it, and then the pandemic hit, and then I was like, well, do we go to LA or what do we do? And so we decided to go to Arkansas, which was a very fun. I love it there. The people are so wonderful, but it is funny because at certain times they're not always, the Californians. They're like, what? The fruits and nuts of California. What are you doing here? So, but it was a great place to be for the pandemic. It was just out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you are originally from California, I would assume, because you started at such a young age, or are you from someplace else?
I was born in Tucson, Arizona, and so we kind of went back between Los Angeles and Arizona growing up. And I still go to Arizona a lot. I quite like Tucson. It's got a really kind of fun, bohemian vibe to it.
Right. And did you have like a precocious, they always say that child actors are precocious. Did you have that type of personality? Like what made you stand out? Because you've done some huge projects as a child. What do you feel like made you stand out as a child actor?
I think probably that I was just, could focus really well and be dedicated to, memorizing the lines and doing the work. And I was like genuinely interested and passionate about it and enjoying it. And I think that that's something, like with kid actors, if they enjoy it and they show up, I think that, I think that comes off on camera, as it does with anybody, in any career field. Like if you're passionate about it, I think that people can immediately see that. And so I think that was one of the things. Also, some of those projects too, once you do one, then the next one's easier, and then the next one's easier. And so everything kind of just builds on top of each other, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. When you're an actor, like you said, it's memorizing lines, and a lot of people don't realize that it is true work. Acting is true work. When you were a child, did you perceive it as work, or did you just think of it as I get to go to set and have fun? Or did you understand it to be, it's long hours and...
Child labor. I loved it. I thought it was fun. It's one of those things I think with, I don't think I ever really thought about it. I think it was just kind of like what I did. It just sort of innately, I moved in that direction and it's what I did. I've always loved movies though. Like even to this day, like I love to watch and dissect film and think about why people make different choices and different casting choices and coloring choices and lens choices with the camera. So, and I've always, like, since I was little, just been fascinated with everyone's job on set, because I think film is such a cool medium in regards to, like, it takes so many people to make something. Like, it's such a collaborative experience, I think, with, say, like music or something, it's a little bit more singular. But with film, like there are so many different jobs and so many different moving parts to make this one piece. And so I just think it's really cool, that it's such an immersive art piece. You have the sight, the sound, the emotional experience. You're spending like an hour and a half with it to 3 hours if it's Titanic. So
yeah, that's a very good point. Well, do you suggest to other people that are, thinking of getting into the industry, that are actors, that they learn other roles, other positions on set? Because I always feel like it's good to know everybody and what they're doing.
Absolutely. I think that if you want to get into film, I think that's one of the best things that you can do is to, and especially like if you ever want to move into different positions, but it's important to know what everyone does so that, you can best support them in their job, because you realize what's important and what they need to do when. But then also later on, if you decide to put your own productions together and you need to hire people, you want to know like what people do, how much time it will take. I also think, on sets, a lot of times everyone's rushing. because you've got this limited amount of time to get things done. And you have to fit so many locations, so many different looks, so many different actors into this, 10, 12 day time period. And so sometimes if people don't fully understand, how long does it take to set up the light, like being a gaffer, like how long does that take? Or, what's a realistic amount of time to do a hair and makeup change on one of the actors from one scene to the other? And if the people who are scheduling or in some of these more managerial positions don't understand that time frame, then they can push on people to rush instead of realizing well, no, to take the actor from, having just been muddy and swimming in the lake scene to now they're, glamorous walking out of the movie premiere, that'll probably take at least an hour. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Johnny just put in, I didn't know you were in this movie. You have to tell me. Johnny, thank you so much for adding this into the chat. And many of you that are out there, please continue to add into the chat for Mika. Were you in the movie Jack Frost? It's a 1998 film.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, thank you. I love this movie. It's The Snowman, right?
Yeah, it's a snowman. It's Michael Keaton's in it. Young boy Joseph Cross is in it. Kelly Preston's in it. Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Now, what did you play in Jack Frost? Because I've seen this movie every Christmas.
Yeah, it's so the movie itself is about a young boy whose dad, which is Michael Keaton, turns into a snowman, and then he's helping him, and their relationship sort of goes to these highs and lows with dad as a snowman, and then dad gets brought back, and so. There's the boy, Joseph Cross, whose dad turns into a snowman. He's on a hockey team, and on the hockey team, there's one girl. And so I'm the friend who is the girl in the movie. So it was actually really, really fun for this film because they had us go to hockey lessons. And so I took all of these hockey lessons randomly as a kid, and then we filmed up near Lake Tahoe. We filmed up there, and then we also filmed, which was so fun. We filmed down down in Long Beach near the Queen Mary. They have those huge kind of round studio bubbles, and within those they put these sets for the outside of the homes, and it was all the fake snow, and it was all the tiny pieces of plastic, and they had the plastic snow blowers to make it look like it was winter, but it was really just sunny California.
No way, because I have seen that show. Thank you, Johnny. He actually added something else into the queue that I want to read to you right now. And good grief, I can't believe you wrote this much. Jack Frost is the lead singer in a rock band simply titled the Jack Frost Band. This is based in the fictional town of Medford, Colorado. Who makes his living performing blues covers and an assortment of his own songs in the hopes of signing a record deal. Thank you so much for putting that in there. And I had no idea, because I've seen this movie every single year. You guys have got to check it out. It's available on Amazon. Probably can rent it right here on Amazon Prime and watch it today. It's so cute. How did they do the snowman? Because in this time, was it CGI, or was Michael Keaton or somebody actually in the snowman? Because I remember he's talking and walking with his son outside.
All of the above. All of the above. Yeah, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. It's fun to be a part of a Christmas movie like this, too, that comes up every year. And Kelly Preston is in it, too, which she's so wonderful in the film. Mm-hmm. Such a sweet role in there.
Yeah, no, she was an awesome, wonderful, wonderful actress. How long did you work on, or how long do you work on a movie typically like Jack Frost? Are you on for a month at a time or a week?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. It's funny because, with the different time frames, and especially with being young, everything feels like forever. And so the fact that we were in these hockey lessons, Andy Lawrence is in the movie too, who's great. He's done a ton of stuff. He was on that TV show Forever with the Lawrence brothers. He's the youngest. But so I mean, it just seems like forever because we had these hockey lessons, and then they had all of us kids in a whatchamacallit, in like a big bus that they would take us up the mountain. to be out there and go skiing. And who else is it? Taylor Hanley's in that, who I went to work with later on Dawson's Creek. And Will Rothar's in that, who I was also in Hearts and Atlantis with too. He's done a ton of stuff. Yeah, it was a fun movie.
That's so cool. And you just mentioned too about going to Lake Tahoe. Where, just for those who are out there, where's the most exciting place that you think you've had an opportunity to go because of your career?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I filmed a movie in China though, and that was pretty awesome.
How neat! What was the movie?
It's a movie called Smile. And yeah, we filmed it in China, and it was just this amazing, different experience. And I was there. Now I remember the time period on that one. I was there for an extended period of time.
Like how long?
I think maybe around 2 months, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, just living in China. And so we started out in Shanghai, and then we were in this town called Kunshan, which is just outside of Shanghai, maybe an hour out. And then we filmed a lot in this wonderful town called Jingxi that has canals running through it with water, full time. It's a beautiful film too. It's really nice. It's in conjunction with the charity Operation Smile, where they go and they travel and they perform. It's similar to Doctors Without Borders, where they perform the surgeries on kids with cleft palate. And they do all of that, completely free of charge, just to support the community.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you're doing a project like that, do you actually have time to get to tour China when you're off, or are you consistently working the entire time?
Consistently working the entire time. But
wow.
It's so immersive because you're there, you're there, you're in it, you're in the culture, you're eating the food, you're working. We had a lot of Chinese crew too, which was so cool. Yeah, so I mean, very much in it. And then I took some time afterward to explore and go to Beijing and travel around a little bit, because I just, it was fascinating. It was fun.
So I don't understand. What does your agent say? You audition for a role, and then they call you up and they go, hey, you booked it, and by the way, you're going to drop your life entirely in Los Angeles and move to China for 2 months. How long do they give you before you have to get up and go?
It depends. Sometimes in advance, and other times it's literally go, go, go. They need you there tomorrow. They need you there yesterday. And you're like, what? Usually you get places and you get a little bit of a turnaround where you get to, have a day to relax and breathe before you start working on stuff. But other times, movies are funny, movies and television. They're so, high intense. Once, you've got a schedule to meet that schedule. I've had people say before, which I think is funny, that when the train leaves the station, the train has left the station, it has to carry on, its route. There's no stopping in between. It just goes. So I think, with these projects, when they sign you on and want you to do something, that's why sometimes, you do the 12-hour days, 14-hour days. I've done 16-hour days on it before. You just have to get the work done, because you only have locations or certain actors for so long. Absolutely.
But when you were a child actor, it's very different though. Don't they have laws for kid actors where they can only work a certain amount of time each day, and then they by law have to go to school also a certain amount of time each day?
8 hours.
Hey, what, you can work 8 hours?
Yeah, I forget what age it goes to, but I think it's starting at 13 or something. You can work 8 hours.
What? So I didn't know that. So you work 8 hours plus you have to go to school each day.
Well,
how much do you have to go to school each day?
I think the schooling's included in the 8 hours. So I think it's, you do your 3 hours of schooling. And so maybe it's you work 5 hours and then 3 hours of school, but it's 8 hours accumulatively. They can have you where you do something. Or sometimes you could do a 5-hour day of school, and then those extra 2 hours, because you have to do 3 each day, those extra 2 hours can then be saved or banked and used later on. So on a separate day, you could work 7 hours and just go to school for 1 hour.
Oh, that's crazy. Have you ever in your life had an inclination, because you grew up in the industry, have you ever in your life had an inclination to do anything else, to have any other type of job?
Well, I feel like acting and filmmaking and all of that's my DNA. So I went from having done all of these different film and television stuff, and then more recently started moving over into filmmaking and directing and wanted the experience, which I feel like is kind of like a natural progression on that too. Wanted the experience of going from being a part of someone else's project and, basically like being like a color that they paint with as part of this bigger picture to being involved now, with an idea, the inception, and then mapping that all the way through, to the writing, the filming, the casting, and then ultimately being involved with where it should live and the distribution of it, where the project. So I think that's been sort of the natural progression of wanting to do other things. So it's always I love story, I love people, I love culture, I love story, I love history. So I think that always exploring that and staying within that world will be something something that I don't leave. I just enjoy it too much.
Right, right. Well, you started off acting, and you're saying the natural progression is to do other things as well. Do you see yourself migrating away from acting eventually and going more into the directing, producing realm, or are you going to always be an actor as well?
I think naturally I'll always be an actor. Even like, so it was funny. So Hollywood.con, which is my latest movie that we have on Amazon. So Hollywood.con, I wrote, directed, I star in it, I produced it. I mean, that was a really, really cool experience going across the board with doing all those different elements. So I think I'll probably continue doing some stuff like that, but yeah, I think it's all on the page for me.
No, I can see that. Absolutely. You had mentioned Hollywood.com, and we have so many awesome projects, you guys, that Mika has been involved in. So why don't we start taking a look at some of them? And if you guys have any questions, any comments, any suggestions in the chat, please, now's your opportunity to talk to Mika about them. So I'm going to show them. You're not going to see it, Mika, but let me show them one of your projects, and then let's talk about it. This is obviously a huge blockbuster movie. You guys, what you're looking at is The Patriot. This is the extended cut by Chris Cooper. This is available. You can watch it on Prime, but you can also get it on DVD right here on Amazon. This stars Mel Gibson. Tell us, what is this movie about, and who did you play in The Patriot?
So The Patriot is about the Revolutionary War. The Patriot is such a cool film. I mean, what an honor to be a part of this. And there's so many people that come up to me over the years that this is like one of those classic films that people just watch every single year. There's so many people who get into this, and it's got, Mel Gibson's in it, Jason Isaacs in it, the late Heath Ledger's in the film. It's a huge, epic Revolutionary War film. And so I played Mel Gibson's eldest daughter in it. And yeah, the movie's so well done. There's so many, apart from it being this war film, there's just so many emotional tones that get hit because they did a great job mapping out this strong family relationship that sort of, sort of is like the heartline throughout the film. But we filmed all over for that. We filmed in North Carolina. We filmed in South Carolina. They had these huge, epic battle scenes, and they brought out a lot of like the people who are so into the war reenactments and travel around the U.S. doing them. And so some of those people, even while we were filming, camped out like near the sets, and there's hundreds of them, and they stay in those tents, and they have the authentic outfits, and like they know all of the history because this is something that they naturally do as an extra curricular activity, as a hobby. And so the heart of that film was just like so fun to be around. Everyone who was involved with the making of that was just like completely into the film. Also, our costume designer on it, Deborah Scott, I believe, I think I'm not sure if she won, but she was definitely nominated for an Oscar on that film, because she tried to be so specific and authentic with these, these old clothing and the fabrics and yeah, I mean, just the attention to detail. Roland Emmerich was the director on that, who's, he did Independence Day, and he's done, these huge films. And so I think that just like his artistry lends well to those sort of epic big budgets, but yet still finding like a personal narrative where you connect with the characters.
So wait, the war reenactment people were the extras in the movie.
Yeah.
And they camped out while they were waiting to get to like run through the fields doing their war reenactment thing. That's crazy. So I would assume that they have their own costumes then too, right? That are pretty authentic.
Yeah, they have the costumes. They have the undergarments, the
No
undergarments.
way.
Yeah. They set up their tents. They have the authentic tents. They have the cooking gear with the pots and the pans.
Wow.
And they really try to live as authentically within that time period as possible.
How crazy. So how long did you film that movie? Because I knew you have a really big role in this film.
We filmed that for quite a while. Once again, it's hard. It's hard because it's you get together with these groups of people, and you're in a different state, and and you're all working on the same thing. So it sort of becomes this bubble experience. But that film had so many different moving parts and locations, and it was so big that it's something that took a while and took longer than just a traditional month-long short film.
Well, let's talk about the audition process on a film of this caliber. So how many times did you audition to get this role? Because I can't imagine it's just like a one-time thing.
You know what? To be honest, I think it was.
What?
Yeah. I think it was. The casting director on The Patriot's amazing, April Webster. And if you plug in April Webster online, like, my goodness, this woman has she's cast everything. She's just one of those people that zeroes in and she knows her stuff. And so, yeah, I remember I went to the audition, and I remember this too, I insisted on wearing this very large old frilly dress, because I was like, oh, this is like what they wore back then. And I remember, whether it be my agent manager, my mom usually took me to my auditions, but I remember them being like, what? Like, wear something normal. And I was like, no. But the scene for the audition scene was, I don't want to give too much away, but someone passed, well, a lot of people pass away. It's a war film, but someone in particular, the film passes away. And right there, in front of the family and with the family. And so that was the scene that they had me do for the audition, was you're standing there with the family, and a terrible tragedy happens. And so I burst out crying. I guess maybe I was a little bit of a dramatic kid. And yeah, it went well. I got hired on. I was very fortunate, yeah, super fun piece. Gregori Smith is in that as well. He plays a brother, and Greg is a great actor. He was on the show Everwood forever. He was the lead on that. Heath Ledger, who's so wonderful. Logan Lerman, played the younger brother in that. He's gone on to do a lot of interesting work. That movie has a big cast.
What was it like to work with Heath Ledger?
He was awesome. He was really, really awesome. I was fairly young, but one of the things that I thought was so wonderful is everyone was really invested in making sure that the relationships came off, authentically and had substance to them. So, Heath went out of his way to, hang out and have these bonding experiences with what would be, the younger siblings in the project. And so he was very nice. And I think one of my funnier experiences on that project, well, I had two that stand out to me off the top of my head. One of them is there's a scene where Mel Gibson's getting retribution on this character, and as you're watching the film, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, it's what you've been waiting for the whole film. And without giving too much away, they had this big watermelon, and the watermelon had like a red substance inside of it that was supposed to be like blood, and he's supposed to be like hacking away at it. And it was so funny just to see, you know, because you watch the film and it's like this like very like climactic, like intense scene where he's, you know, hacking away, and there's like this like, you know, blood spray. The movie's not violent in general. I mean, it is a war movie, but you know, there's sort of like blood spraying up, but to watch it in person is hilarious because it's a, you know, it's a watermelon that's been set on this thing to make sure that it doesn't, it's like a stabilized watermelon, you know, he's like a good actor. He's like intensely going at it. So that was funny. And then I think this was a wild thing too. This is funny. So part of the movie for these like dramatic scenes are in slow motion, you know, which just adds to, you know, you do the music, you do this, and it's in slow motion. And there was a scene with Mel Gibson where they're shooting it and they're going to shoot it in slow motion. And so they were getting ready to shoot it in slow motion. And I just thought it was so interesting because he was like, well, I would like let me just move in slow motion, because then I can go through a series of different facial expressions. Rather, if it's actually in slow motion, you know, your face would be a little bit more flat and different things. You're not going to be able to go through, you know, 20 different emotions. So anyway, so he like physically ran doing slow and I was like, what? I was like, I gotta learn to do that as an actor. You know, here he is. He's like, I was like, this man does real life slow motion so he can hit all of the facial expressions.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so we had that. And then there was another one too. They this was funny also. So they had a house that they light on fire in the film. And you know, it's this very like dramatic thing. They light the house on fire. And I'm supposed to have two younger siblings. And they were like, okay, so, you know, grab their hands and run past the burning house and go over there. And I was like, I was like, what? They're like, yeah. Like, and I was very, very far away from it. But I was just like, you know, I was like, that's on fire. Like, I was like, and I'm like looking at these two little kids and I'm like, are we sure that they're both going to hang on to my hands and not go anywhere? I'm like looking at them, like trying to give them mean looks, like, you, don't you let go of my hand. You, don't you let go of my hand. Like, how am I responsible? But it was very far. And we had great safety coordinators very far away. But it was just like funny because I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so they had, I ran through like this large field with the house on fire in the background, holding on to the two little babies' hands, you know, trying to make sure.
Oh no!
Direction.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Gina Capone says hello to you.
Hi, Gina.
Hey, Gina. Thank you so much for joining us today. And for all of you who are out there, we're talking to Mika Boorem. And, you know, she's done so many films that are available here on Amazon and Amazon Prime. She's an actress, she's a director, a producer, and a writer. So now, you guys, is your opportunity to talk to her about all things entertainment, all things Hollywood, and perhaps you're thinking of getting into the entertainment industry as well. So now's your chance. We've been talking about some of her projects. We just saw The Patriot. I'm going to show you another one right here. Tell us what this is about. This is Trucker. Now you can find it here on Amazon in DVD format, and you can also rent it right here on Prime Video, and it's also available in Blu-ray. What is The Trucker about?
So Trucker is a true independent film. You know, I think it's got this wonderful storyline. It's Michelle Monaghan, which Michelle Monaghan has been in so much. Oh my goodness. You recognize her from everything. She's been in Bad Santa, which is one of my favorites. She's hilarious in that. She has been in Mission Impossible. And so she is the lead in that. And she is this young woman who is very adventurous and decides that she wants to be a truck driver. And so within that, I think that there's a very interesting like self-exploration, because she is a mom but she's not necessarily like a traditional caretaker of the mom. She's more interested in being a truck driver. And so it's sort of this woman's experience of her wanting to be on the road. And then Benjamin Bratt is in that as well, who he's been in a lot of films. And yeah, it's just kind of a cool, interesting, singular narrative story of this woman. And I think that you don't necessarily always see those stories for women. And it was cool to see Michelle Monaghan in that role, because it's a very it's a very strong, interesting role for a woman to play, and I think she totally like pulls it off. I think that she does a great performance in it.
Wow. And what character do you play in the movie?
I play someone I have a small role in it. And so I did this cameo, and basically the cameo is a reflective cameo where it's her character seeing kind of like where she used to be and how she progressively has become this sort of like hardened, independent woman. And so my character is this girl that's from a small town that is hanging out at these truck stops and interacting with these truck drivers, and basically not necessarily like having the strength that her character does. And so she sort of, is reflecting on who and how she used to be.
Oh, wow. That brings up a good question. Do you prefer working on smaller independent indies, or do you like the big budget films? Which one do you think suits you best? I mean, do you feel like you have more creative control on an independent film as opposed to a big budget, or which one do you like?
I like them all. I think they're all great. I think, there's plus and minus to everything. I think that I think they're all great, and they, they have different positive and negatives. So like one of the cool things with independent films is a lot of times they can push the envelope more, they don't have, big studios that maybe want things like a little bit more mainstream. And so they can sort of, sort of push the envelope, take random risks, and see how it turns out. But then on the opposite side, with these studio projects, like sometimes there's just so much finesse and care to the detail and getting it right. Like I had mentioned with The Patriot, like just wanting things to be perfect and specific, and so. That can be really cool too, and they have the budget or the time to hire a real historian, or to hire just like the time and to make things perfect.
Hiring a historian, it just kind of brought a question to mind. How do you, when you're in a period piece, because it sounds like you've done quite a few, how do you as an actor prepare for something period? Do you look at historical references? Do you do your own research? Does somebody help you?
So sometimes for historical projects, they will hire different people to talk with you and educate you about it. But I also enjoy doing my own research. So I think one of the biggest things, especially for acting, is the speech patterns. People had different diction in different time eras, and they use different language, which the scripts are written for you, but still just kind of wrapping your head around what that sort of sounds like to not sound so modern. But yeah, I love pulling up old books and thinking like if there's anything, depending on what the time era is. I think it's also interesting to read, magazines that were popular at that time. Sort of look at the pop culture of that time. Are there any sort of autobiographies from people's perspectives that would have been similar, and just sort of sit in that space, and also the body language too, of even just like our clothes have been so different over the years, like the way that you sit and carry yourself in a corset is so different than, our modern comfortable jeans wear that we do, or like the women, wearing the heels and pinning their hair at night, how does that make you carry yourself? So just sort of like ruminating on all of that.
Oh, that makes perfect sense to me because I remember Jimmy Stewart saying that in order for him to get in character, he had to get in the literal shoes of that character. And whether that character was like in the 1800s or the 1950s or whatever, he put himself in the right shoes, laced them up, and all of a sudden he became that person, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, let's take a look at another one. Now, I'm excited about this one because I think that you're the main person in this movie. That you can find this right here on Amazon, you guys. This is The Initiation of Sarah. Now you can find it on Prime Video right here, and you can also get it on DVD. This looks like, is it witchcraft or something supernatural?
Yeah.
So I can tell by the cover. You guys, look at this awesome cover. I love it. So tell us all about this movie.
So this is really fun. It's Initiation of Sarah is just a fun project. So it's based off of a 1970s film of the same title. And this is, there's magical powers involved. We've got Jennifer Tilly's in the film, which Jennifer Tilly is always fantastic. She, you would know her from everything. I can't list her credits off.
Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah. She's so recognizable. She's such like a landmark in herself. She's iconic. And then Morgan Fairchild's in the movie, and she's great in it. But the story is these young girls who are sisters, and there's magical powers that come up, and then this sort of evil entity that comes through, but all in a very like light, fun way. And then somebody has to go save the day and clear things up. The story is such a I don't want to give too much away because if I start giving too many details, then it's got a few twists and turns on there. But it's a fun movie. It's just like light-hearted, good, supernatural.
Oh, like Charmed. It's like a light-hearted, fun kind of comedy. And it's like a teen movie?
Yes, exactly. Like it's totally exactly like Charmed.
Oh, you guys, so if you just want to watch a fun movie this weekend, this is definitely one that's lighthearted, it's uplifting, just perfect movie. Now, did you audition for this movie? And then tell us the difference between, I'm assuming sometimes you audition and then sometimes you're offered movies. How important do you think networking is in this industry?
I think networking is always important. I think that if you can find people that you enjoy and that you want to collaborate with and that you respect as artists, I mean, I think that because networking can be such like a broad term, but that's what I always think of like with networking, is I meet people and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really like this person. I really respect them. I respect what they're doing. They're in the same field. Like, is there something we can collaborate on or share stuff back and forth? And there is definitely something about like the synergy and the momentum that ends up creating that does help you overall in your career. Because I think that, there's a lot of give and take, that comes along. And it's definitely, knowing people that are doing the same thing as you is absolutely beneficial, especially if they're, good, nice people that you enjoy. But so for this one I was offered the role, which I was so excited about. I got offered the role and I was like, this is fun. This is really, really fun when I read the script. And Summer Glau plays my sister in it, and she's fantastic. She's been in a ton of stuff. She was in Firefly, which is such a cult classic. It's a Joss Whedon show that also has a supernatural element to it. And she's done so much since then. But Joanna Garcia is in it also. Joanna Garcia was on, oh my gosh, the Reba McEntire show. Joanna Garcia was on the Reba McEntire show for a very long time, and she plays a very opposite type character that she usually does. She maybe or maybe not is like a little bit on the villainous side. Tessa Thompson's in it as well, which is so fun because Tessa has such a fantastic career. Tessa was just in the new Creed movie, the new Rocky Creed movie.
Okay.
She's a lead role in that. And oh my gosh, there's a supernatural film that she's in right now too. She has such a large role in. She has a large role in Westworld. I mean, she's just across the board and everything.
Oh, sure. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes, in Westworld.
Yeah.
She's terrific. Yeah. Absolutely terrific.
Yeah, so I mean, it has a fun cast. The cast on it is just, you'll see all these different roles and cameos of people that you recognize from everything in this like campy, witchy, lighthearted film.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you think you are most cast as overall? Do you think that you fit a certain niche, or do you think you're across the board? How does casting see you?
I like to think that all of my stuff's across the board. I would like to think so. I'm not really entirely sure. More recently, I've done a lot of directing. I started directing these short films and then did the music videos and then with Hollywood.com. So, but I think probably, I mean, sort of like, Girl Next Door has always been kind of the thing. I love so many character actors though. And so I have these dreams in the future of playing like all of these weird, sort of wacky characters. Like Kathy Bates has played so many sort of wacky characters, or
Sure.
like Will Snow has played wacky characters. And so I would like somewhere along the books to have, these weird characters pop up and be a part of my, my acting library of work that I've done.
Well, because I see you as so, just bright and cheery and just so much energy, just awesome. Do you ever get cast as because I do see The Girl Next Door, but do you ever get cast as the villain, or do you want to play the villain, or, something polar opposite of what you actually are?
I think that would be a blast. I think that would be so much fun to play the villain. Yeah, I would love it. I would think it'd be a blast. Somebody cast me as the villain. I'm just putting it out there in the world. I'd have to figure out what kind of villain. I would like to be the villain in a historical piece. That would be fun.
Oh, that'd be awesome. So we're saying, you guys, if you're out there watching right now, you got to cast Mika as a villain. So, and let's take a look at, for you guys out there, let's take a look at another one of her projects that she's done. This is a big feature film. Another one of her big feature films. This is Mighty Joe Young, and this stars a gorilla. I know all about this film. Now you can see it on Prime Video right here on Amazon. You can also get it available on DVD. And tell us, this stars, Bill Paxton and Charlize Theron.
Oh my gosh, I am so proud to have been a part of this movie. I love this movie. This is like a movie I can watch over and over again.
Aw.
It's so beautiful. It's so well done. The cast in it is just lovely. And the way that they all play off each other is fantastic. The late Bill Paxton, who, has so much heart. Charlize Theron, she's, great in this. This is one of her earlier films. And Linda Pearl's in it. Linda Pearl played my mom in it. So I play a young Charlize in the film.
Wow, I can see that.
Yeah, and so at the beginning of the film, they set up the relationship with Charlize's character Jill, which is the one that I play also. So it's basically. The part that I play is how she builds the relationship with what ends up being Joe, the large monkey, Mighty Joe Young. And so at the very beginning of the film, we had, oh my gosh, and the animatronics on it too, like the special effects are so good. Rick Baker did them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're so well done. So at the beginning of the film, they have me. I'm playing with what would be young Joe, the small monkey, and so we're doing that. And then poachers come, and then there's this, this very heartfelt, dramatic stuff that happens with my mom, with the poachers, and then you basically understand why the Jill Charlize character has this like strong relationship with this monkey, and why she feels so driven to take care of and protect him and like be a part of his life. And so it's a really beautiful story. It's just it's heartwarming, and it's beautiful to watch too. We filmed a lot of it in Hawaii. A fun little tidbit is, so for the portion that I'm in that has young Joe in it, and he's a small gorilla. It's Vern Troyer in the suit.
Oh, Oh, really?
Yeah, the late Vern Troyer. So Vern Troyer has done so much in his career, but I think what most people would probably recognize him from was Mini-Me in Austin Powers.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he went on to play Mini-Me in Austin Powers, and so when we filmed this in Hawaii, they had him in the suit, in the gorilla suit, and they pull the head off. And they just took such care. They always, when you watch it too, they have like for the portions of the skin, like they would always like moisturize like on the gorilla suit and stuff. But Vern Troyer was very funny in that gorilla suit because he always cussed a lot and he smoked these cigars.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that because, I knew Vern. I knew Vern very well. I worked with him for 2 years, actually, and we were from the same area in Texas. And so I knew Vern was always so sarcastic, and I can tell you many things that he had said, over the years. And Vern just always made me laugh. And he also did the Great Panda Escape, which I think was another Disney film, because I know that Mighty Joe Young is a Disney film, and he was the panda and spent a lot of time in China being in the panda. And he always told me that one of his dreams at the time was to be out of costume and to be seen for himself, because he was primarily at that time playing costume characters. So he got to do that when he was in Austin Powers as Mini-Me. So
wow.
it became such a great thing, but a lot of our conversations had nothing to do with the industry, but just, talking about being back home and everything. So that's awesome that you knew Vern too.
Yeah, wow. It's so funny because, with Austin Powers and even these costume roles, he's so iconic.
Yeah, he really is, because he always told me that he was one of the smallest people, if not the smallest people in the industry. And I said, how tall are you, Vern? And he goes, a standard size skateboard? And I go, yes. And he goes, stand it up end to end. And that's me, Candace. That's me. I'm the standard size skateboard. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. Well, thank you for letting me know, because sometimes when we would be in the office, there would be tables, and he would walk and you'd see him, and then he'd disappear behind the table and he'd come out on the other side.
Yeah, he's great. I adored him. He's like just so much character, and
so sardonic. You know what I mean? Just like the things that he would say would be so blunt, you guys. If you know who we're talking about, it's Vern Troyer, and he was so sarcastic and just blunt. He would just say whatever, and it was always sometimes I would be shocked by what he would say. So
on that show too, they had because it was so muddy being in Hawaii, and so we filmed up on this hill for the majority of it. And you had to climb ropes to get there. And so they had a special guy dedicated to get him up there.
Well, because Vern was heavy. That's the thing. Because my friend David Stenstrom, when we would be walking in a parking lot, Vern, for safety reasons, we didn't want him walking in a parking lot by himself, because he was so small that literally somebody could not see him and accidentally hit him with a car. And he drove a specialized car where he was able to drive. But anyway, so in the parking lot, my friend David would pick him up, and David would be like, wow, Vern is very heavy. So I can imagine if they're hoisting him up, that, he has a lot of weight, more than you would think he would be for his size.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he just said the funniest things. I remember one time, and we are going to go back to looking at these awesome items, but I remember one time I said to Vern, what is the proper term? Should I say small person? Just because I don't know, and I want to say the right thing. And Vern looks at me and he goes, Candace, just call me a midget. And I said, excuse me? And he goes, just call me a midget. I go, no, I'm not going to do that. No, that's what I am. I'm a midget. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to call you that. You're a small person. No, I'm not. I don't like the term small person. I just call me a midget. That's what I am. No. And we got in this argument over it, because I said, I'm not going to, it makes me uncomfortable. But he was fine with it.
I love that. That's a great story.
It's so true, though. Isn't that him?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is 100% Vern, you guys. All right. We're going to go take a look at another great project here that you are in. Mika is in Hearts in Atlantis. Wow. This stars Anthony Hopkins, you guys. And you can get this right now on Amazon Prime Video. So if you want to watch it, you can watch it right away. You can also see it on DVD. Here, we have the special DVD collector's edition right here. Tell us about this project.
Oh wow! So Anthony, so Hearts in Atlantis is it stars Anthony Hopkins, like you mentioned, and it's based off of a Stephen King novel.
I love Stephen King.
Yeah, this is a really really well done film. So the novel, or sorry, so Stephen King does these novels. He does the ones that are horror, but that's not what this is.
Oh, okay.
This is a coming of age story about a young boy. And there's a supernatural element to it, but it's more of like a warm-hearted, nostalgic journey through the past. So the movie, begins with this reflection of this adult man who's sort of reminiscing on his childhood and these wonderful things that happened, and then this great mystery that Anthony Hopkins' character was when he came into his life. The movie is a lot of people's favorite film. I've gotten this so much over the years. People just really enjoy it. It really tugs on like the nostalgic heartstrings. Hope Davis is in it as well. She's been in a ton of stuff. David Moriarty, who's been in a ton of stuff, he's in it. It's a really really well done film. It has the late Anton Yelchin in it.
Oh, from Star Trek.
Yes, exactly. This is probably one of his first films that he's in, and he's in the lead in it, and he just does a fabulous performance in it. This is a great film. I would say this is like a must-see film. This is one of my favorite films that I've done.
Oh, really? Wow, what was it like working with Anthony Hopkins?
It was great. He was really nice. He's such a professional. I feel like he's one of those people that when you're around Anthony Hopkins, you're like, oh, wow. Just like a little bit like starry-eyed. He's got that voice, and then he's talented on he plays the piano, he does this, he does that. So, just like being around him, I was like, oh my gosh. But it's funny too. He always travels with his stand-in, which is this guy who does all of his smoking scenes, Smoking Tony.
No.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. So he's always got this look-alike with him, but you can only film Smoking Tony from the side of profile because they don't look the same from the front with the profile. But because Anthony Hopkins won't. He doesn't do any sort of like smoking type things himself. So he's got this guy with him. But this movie is just great. And Scott Hicks directs it. Scott Hicks has won Oscars for his directing work. He did Snow Falling on Cedars, and it's just well done. It's very beautiful.
Oh, wow. So wait. So Smoking Tony looks like him sideways, but when they're forward, they don't look like the same person.
Exactly.
That's weird. That's totally weird.
Are you gonna throw off the paparazzis?
No, I can only go from the side. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And Johnny just said, yes, Johnny, she is from The Patriot, and we just talked about that movie. And then Aaron says hello. He is coming in from Ireland to say hello to you.
Oh my gosh, hello to Ireland.
Yes. He just said, hey, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us right now. And we are coming to you from sunny Los Angeles. It's actually 8:21 in the morning. We're coming to you live. We're talking to Mika right now about some wonderful projects that she has been in that are available right now on Amazon and Amazon Prime. And so you guys can watch them this weekend if you want. Another one that I absolutely love, and it stars, it's directed by a terrific director too. I'm going to show you guys. This was a much acclaimed movie when it came out. This is Riding in Cars with Boys, and you guys know about this movie. It stars Drew Barrymore, and it was directed by Penny Marshall. Oh, Steve Zahn and Brittany Murphy are in it too. Oh, tell us all about Riding in Cars with Boys and your experience, and what did you do in this film?
So Riding Cars with Boys, it's based off of a book. Penny Marshall directed it, which Penny Marshall is so iconic. And I play a young Drew Barrymore in the film. And so the storyline is this woman's journey, and what kind of sets her journey in a specific direction, and then she has these different relationships that come up, is her relationship with her father. And so at the beginning of the film, I'm with James Woods, who's, my gosh, he's been in so many films, Jimmy Woods. And it's the two of us are together. And we have this talk in the film. And basically, it's about his daughter is like becoming an adult, and he's not sure about that. And then they sort of have this like rough relationship that sets off after that. The cast in the film is just like out of this world. So Brittany Murphy and Drew Barrymore play opposite each other. Wow. And they have a strong friendship, and it's Steve Zahn, like you mentioned, he's in it. And it's a good film. It's a good film. It's about a young woman's journey and kind of the highs and lows. And the film takes place it's a period piece. So that's kind of interesting as well. And so it's fun to see Drew Barrymore in this role. I feel like it's a very different, if you're a fan of Drew Barrymore, you've got to see this because it's a very different role for her. And, you know, I feel like she kind of stretches her acting chops on it and just sort of does things which she always does. I mean, she's amazing. She's so good and everything. But I feel like a lot of times she plays so likable and so comedic. And this is a little bit different tone somewhere else for her.
Well, you know, I feel like she stretched her acting chops in Grey Gardens. I don't know if you saw that with Jessica Lange. Yeah, I was really surprised because you're so used to seeing her in like The Wedding Singer or Music and Lyrics. And like you said, a very likable girl next door that has a great comedic timing going on. And then for her to be in something else, it's almost like, whoa, but you see how fleshed out she is as far as acting is concerned.
That show was fantastic.
Wasn't it? I was really surprised because if you've seen the original Grey Gardens, which I've seen a million times, have you seen the documentary, the Males Brothers documentary?
I have not.
Check it out, really, because once you see that and you watch that and then you see what they did, what she did, I mean, she's so spot on. Because at first I was thinking, I just can't see her as little Edie Beale. I just can't see it. And then I saw her and I was like, oh, you know, she just hit a home run. You know, wow. Absolutely amazing. We have a question from the chat there asking, what are you doing? Do you have anything coming up next acting-wise?
Okay, so, well, the big thing right now is that I just released Hollywood.com, a film that I wrote, directed, acted, and produced, and that's on Amazon right now. And that's a fun film. You should definitely watch that. Check it out. It's got Tom Arnold's in it. Who's so funny. He's such a riot. Devin Rattray's in it, who you would know from like Masterminds, the TV show Mosaic, the Amazon TV show The Tick, Russian Dolls. He's been in so much. He was also Buzz in Home Alone. So yeah, with the tarantula and like Woof, Buzz's girlfriend back in the day. Yeah, so he's in it. Paige Howard's in it, who you would know from Adventureland, and she's on the Nickelodeon TV show right now, Astronauts, and Cody Cash from Desperate Housewives. And so that film is my biggest acting venture that I have going on right now. More recently, I've been developing a lot of my directing work and my filmmaking work, but I just love acting, and so I've got some opportunities that have started to come up in that, and I'm like, okay, well, now that I've got the film out and we've released it, maybe I'll start looking into some more of that too.
Oh, that's awesome. And yeah, we are going to be continuing to look at some of Mika's great work that you can find right here on Amazon. And we are going to be looking at Hollywood.com in a moment. And the one I want to show you guys right now, this is also looks like a very, very big budget movie. Along Came a Spider, starring Morgan Freeman. You guys, you can get this on Amazon Prime Video if you want to watch it today even. We have it available on Amazon and Blu-ray and also DVD and multi-format. Tell us, what did you do in this movie? And what was it like to work with Morgan Freeman?
Along Came a Spider is a great mystery movie. If you like James Patterson novels, which is what this is based off of, you're going to love this. It's the Alex Cross storyline where he's a detective, and it is the prequel to the film Kiss the Girls, which is also very good. And Yeah, it's got Monica Potter in it too, and it's this detective mystery story that stars Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman plays that classical character that you love him in, where he's solving crimes, and my character in this is part of a big mystery. I can't give too much away.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's part of a big mystery, and there's some problem solving, some escape scenes in it. The director on this, Lee Tamahori, is a fantastic director. He went on to direct different James Bond films. He directed the Vin Diesel action films, the XX. He is quite talented, and so you can see that in this too, because it's got the detective story and the mystery, but it has the pacing that you see in these like James Bond type films. Like it just moves and keeps going. Michael Wincott's in it too, who Michael Wincott's been in a ton of things.
The Crow, right?
Yeah.
Terrific actor. Wow.
Yeah, he's fabulous. And his voice, he's got one of the most iconic voices, which is so funny because Morgan Freeman has such an iconic voice. He has such an iconic voice.
Is Michael, what is he like in real life? Because I always see him as that. He always plays the dark heavy, and he's so good at it, Is he just like a normal guy in real life?
He's just normal, but there's something about that voice. That voice stops you in your tracks. Like it's so specific and so I don't know, it just gets you. So even when he's talking normal, I feel like you lean in and you're like, what are you saying? Like, it feels like there's something devious or something important because it's so poignant.
It really is. It is like Morgan Freeman. It's almost like the voice of God, coming down upon you. So Nimjin says hello to you with 2 hearts.
Oh, thank you. I like that too. I'll send those back.
Oh, thank you so much, you guys. We're talking to Mika Boorem right now. She's an actress. She's a director, a producer, and writer. We're talking about some of her projects that we have available on Amazon. We are going to get also to Hollywood.com, which is something that she not only wrote, directed, she starred in, and it is available right here on Amazon right now. Right now, why don't we take a look at another one? This looks so cute too. It's another one of those cute movies I can tell. This is the special edition of Sleepover. Now you can get this right here on Prime Video, so you can rent it right now. We also have it available on Blu-ray and DVD. This looks like another fun, lighthearted comedy. What is this movie about?
This is a fun movie. Sleepover is fun. Sleepover is about 2 groups of girls that are battling for the big next lunch table.
No. Wait. Say it again.
The lunch table.
No.
Lunch table, yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
It's fun. So Steve Carell is in this, and this is one of Steve Carell's big movies before he did 40-Year-Old Virgin. So this sort of set him up in that comedic direction, and he's so funny. He plays the mall cop in this that is after these girls, and we have the 2 groups of girls. We have the sort of underdog set of girls, and then we have the cool girls. And, it's a scavenger hunt. And so there's a series of different fun things. It's a fun adventure story. It's got a great cast in it. It has Alexa Vega in it, who has been in a ton of stuff. She was in Spy Kids.
She was a child star.
Yeah, she's a child star. It has Brie Larson in it, which Brie Larson's gone on to win an Oscar, and she's in the what is that? Not Wonder Woman, but one of the new Marvel films. She's in that. She's fantastic, and she's done so much other stuff too. She's fantastic. It has Sarah Paxton in it, who did the Mermaid movies, and she's gone on to do a lot of interesting work as well. So it's another one of those films that you watch and you see all of these great cameos and great roles from actors, that's kind of set them up for where they went to later on.
Now, are you one of the cool girls?
No.
No, you're not?
No.
You're at the other table.
Yes. Yes, I'm in the other direction. Definitely not one of the cool girls.
Oh my gosh. See, I would have seen you like in Mean Girls. I would have seen you as one of the cool girls.
No, I'm more, I guess what my role is sort of the, I would say I'm like one of the more mellow kind of cool girls that's on the not seen as cool team. So I think that, mine is, my character, she's moving away from town and she's never really gotten all up in this, we need the special lunch table mix or any of that kind of stuff. But she's leaving town and she wants to make sure that her friends are going to get that good table if she's going. It's fun. It's a fun movie. The actors in it are so good. I mean, like I mentioned, Brie Larson, she went on to win an Oscar.
I know.
You know what I mean?
She wants the cool lunch table. Oh my goodness. So Nim just says, OMG, I loved Sleepover. I can't believe that is her. Yes, she is here right now. You guys, Imjin, this is Mika Boorem. She is from the movie Sleepover. Now, you guys, I promise you, I'm going to have to watch this movie because I love those types of movies like Mean Girls, and this is kind of like fighting over a lunch table. This is my type of movie. So I promise I'm going to rent this on Amazon Prime. So, Namjoon, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Mika, now's your chance. She is here. She is live right now with us. So if you have any questions about Sleepover, any questions about making the movie, now is your time to talk to her. And in the meantime, I want to show you guys another movie that she's in. This is Sea Change, and this is available on DVD. This looks so mysterious. This is not like a funny, lighthearted comedy. You guys are in the ocean. What's going on here?
So these films are fun. So what these are is it's a series of films. I'm just in one of them, but it's a series of films that Tom Selleck, who has
the Tom Selleck.
Yeah, the Tom Selleck. It's his project. He plays the detective on it, and he produces these detective series of films. Tom Selleck is what is Tom Selleck's leading role that everyone knows him from?
What's his name? Magnum.
Yes, exactly. And he's got that fantastic mustache that is so iconic. But so he's done this series of films where he lives in a small town and he's a detective and he lives there and he has this partnership with Kathy Baker, Kathy Baker is a fantastic actress. She's been in so much. She was in like Cold Mountain and and Edward Scissorhands and like she's so recognizable. But they have these small mysteries to solve. And so, in this specific movie, the Sea Change one that I'm in, I have this role where I come to him and I have these experiences that have happened. And I have these people that, I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so has wronged me. And he's got those sharp shooting eyes and I don't know. I don't want to give away too much. He's like, I don't know. And so he pulls out his, Tom Selleck spidey sense and I'm like, okay. And I start to back down a little, because it is the Tom Selleck. But it's a fun little mystery thing. It kind of reminds me, which is not totally like it all, but like I used to love that show Murder, She Wrote.
Sure.
Okay, so it's got like the little mysteries that come up. He solves them. Very easy watching, relaxing, easy watching.
That's kind of what we all need now, I think, is relaxing, easy watching. And Tom Selleck is still, I think, very handsome today. I mean, how old is he?
I don't know, but he is. There's something about he just like carries himself well. He has that, that stature, that presence, the voice,
Oh, totally. And he was like an icon. And when he was doing Magnum PI, he was completely like the hot sex symbol of the time. Right? So you guys, let's take a look at another one. Okay, this is one of my absolute favorites. Seriously, it is. I've seen this movie before. I'm going to ask you how fun it was to shoot it because I can only imagine. You guys, what you're looking at right now is Blue Crush. Blue Crush, everybody knows this movie is the ultimate summer movie in Hawaii. It stars Kate Bosworth, Michelle Rodriguez, and you can rent it here right now on Amazon Prime in high definition. You can also purchase it here. Tell us what was this had to be a joy to film.
Oh my gosh, yes. This was like such a wonderful project to be involved with. I love this movie. This movie is cool. It's the aesthetics on it. Oh my gosh, the cinematography with the waves was so like groundbreaking. They have such beautiful, beautiful shots in this. We filmed in Hawaii. We filmed on Oahu.
Oh, wow.
And, oh my gosh. Also, like the surfing is so well done in the film. It's just great to see. They hired all the top surfers and had them involved, and the director on it, John Stockwell, is actually a surfer. So he was able to like touch into that. Brian Grazier's on the film, which Brian Grazier produces so many, wonderful, wonderful projects. So he really has a keen eye for, what's good. And the movie is about these girls and the relationships that they have, bonding together and being athletes, and then conflicts that come up with that, and then there's a huge surf competition, and so about this friendship between the girls and what sort of happens if you want to go for your dreams, and sometimes you get off track a little bit, but if you really want to go for something, you really believe in it, you can have it. And so I think that this movie sort of drives that force, and Kate Bosworth is so good in it. She's the lead. She's just fantastic. She's so athletic. She's so beautiful, so likable. Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Michelle Rodriguez, you would recognize from everything. Like, she literally is in everything. She's in all the Fast and Furious films. She's in Avatar. She did the film, which I love, which was one of her first Girl Fight, which was an independent film where she played like a boxer and stuff. But she's just been in so much. So she's great in the movie. And just watching it, you're like, oh my gosh, look at these huge, huge waves. And so when we filmed it, they actually put us actors out there in the water with these gigantic waves.
No. Well, did you know how to surf, or did they give you at least lessons?
They gave lessons. They gave everyone lessons. And they had the best surfers in the world. They really they hired the best people. So like Rochelle Ballard, who's so amazing. She was on it as a surfer. Megan Abubu, Noah Johnson, who had won an Eddie Aiku before. Oh, my light.
Oh, no worries. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, and then they had, the...
there you go again.
I wonder, let's see. Anyway, I'll just leave it for mine. But so they had all of these awesome surfers on it too. And so I think that, they wanted to get the authentic vibe and feel for things, and they got that. So when you're watching it, yes, it's this like huge surfing film and a big budget surfing film, but there's so many actual like water sports people, surf people involved in the film and putting their authentic touch on it too, that I think that you feel that like when you watch it, it feels like genuine Hawaii, genuine surf culture, all mixed in, which is really nice. How
long did you get to stay in Oahu? That must have been a dream to shoot there.
It was awesome. It was really awesome. I don't totally remember. I could have stayed there forever though. I loved it. I literally could have stayed there forever.
Oh, how awesome, you guys. I've seen Blue Crush. I love it. Isn't it funny, all the projects that you've done, you never know which ones are going to be truly iconic. Did you know that Blue Crush was going to be such an amazing film, especially for young women of this generation?
I didn't know, but there's something about when everyone starts coming together and you're filming it, and you can start to feel like that the energy starts to pick up, and you're like, oh my gosh, like we're doing something cool here. Like, it's really coming together well. We're doing something cool. And, for women's sports films, that was like one of the largest women's sports films, and still to this day, that's really come out and showcased women like that. And I think it's done in a way that is so feminine too. You know, there's something like very feminine about like being on the beach and all of that. And I don't know.
But yet I think that the main characters were strong and they were independent. And I also think they were headstrong and they knew what they want, even in what they wanted, even in romantic relationships, that they were leading with what they wanted as opposed to somebody else. And I think that's what sets that movie apart, in addition to the sports and the underwater photography and all that.
Absolutely. And I love that, you know, I love that. I think it's such a good, strong message for women too, you know, for young women.
Absolutely.
To be headstrong.
Yeah. And then you can watch them fighting over a food table and sleep over. You can fighting over the lunch table and sleep over. Either one is awesome. You guys, let's take a look at another one too. And I love the first one. I haven't seen this one. I've got to see it. You guys, this is Dirty Dancing Havana Nights. Now, you can see this right here. You can get it on DVD. What is this the second Dirty Dancing?
This is the sequel to Dirty Dancing.
Wow.
Dancing. Yeah.
So what did you do on this movie, and did you dance?
I do not dance on this movie. I dance in the background though, because the dancing is so good. When you watch it, it's inspiring. So I'm like in the back just like, oh, actually that's not true. I dance at the very, very end of the movie for a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of time. This movie is so cool. It is the sequel to Dirty Dancing. It is not it's not the same story as Dirty Dancing, but it is the same, tonally, it's the same kind of narrative, but set in the 1950s in Havana, which is so cool. And so it's like, oh my gosh, the soundtrack on this is to die for. Just the music alone is fantastic. I really encourage you to check out the soundtrack for it, which ended up winning a ton of awards. Roman Ligari's in it with Diego Luna, and they have this like burgeoning love story, and there's dance competitions. It's fun, it's colorful, it's historical, so that's really fun too. You have the old costumes. It's kind of fun too when you bring in like the conflict from that time era into things. John Slattery's in this. John Slattery was from the TV show Mad Men. He was the lead on that, among doing a lot of other things. Celia Ward is in this. Celia Ward has done so much.
Wow.
Yeah, she's I can't think of her credits right off the top of my head, but she's so recognizable. Diego Luna, he's fantastic. It's a fun movie. It is fun.
Oh, that is awesome. And you know, you guys, Mika, you've done so many projects. We can't even get to them all because we're running out of time, but I definitely want to get to this one for you guys because this is really important to her. We were just, somebody in the chat had just asked, Johnny Kong had just asked, what are you doing next? So I definitely want to show this one. You guys, what you're looking at is Hollywood.com. Now, why this is so important is because Mika, not only she wrote it, she directed it, she also acted in it. Now, it stars Mika, of course, Tom Arnold, Devin Ratray, and Brittany Underwood. This is a comedy and it's an action film. You can rent it right now on Amazon Prime Video you can rent it in high definition. You can also purchase it. There you are right there. We're looking at it right now. Tell us, what is this about? It has 5 stars. Please let us know. Yes, it does. I'm telling you right now, I'm watching and it's got 5 stars on it. Do not check it out. You got to check it out.
Yeah, so this is my directorial debut. This is a really fun film. So I'll tell you, now that we kind of like referenced a lot of the movies that I've done.
Yes.
So one of my big things for putting together my directorial debut was to cast the film with prior colleagues. So a lot of the actors in Hollywood.com you will recognize from these other films, because when I started writing it, I was like, oh my gosh, with my background as an actor, like one of the most important things to me is to build out wonderful characters. And the movie's about a bunch of wacky characters who go on an adventure. They work for a production company and they're in a race to make the next big Mayan movie. And so the film, takes place in Hollywood, and then it also takes place in Latin America. And so it was so fun because for the Hollywood section of it, having grown up on set and in the industry, I was able to create like all of these very wacky characters who go through and they're networking and trying to ladder climb and they're dropping names. And like, it was just so much fun to create comedy off of that. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. And then from there, I wanted to make it a little bit more broad. And so then I brought in the Latin America side with it, and with the Mayan culture. And there's an enchanted piece of jade in it that has a curse. And one of the major influences for it was Romancing the Stone.
Oh, I love Romancing the Stone from the 1980s with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's a large influence on this. It's that sort of adventure escapism film that takes you somewhere fun. We filmed all over. We filmed in Mexico. We filmed in Guatemala. We filmed in Texas. We filmed in Arizona. In Arizona, we filmed in those sand dunes. So there's, these like, it was 110 degrees. It was fun. There's great cameos in this. Brian Krause does a cameo in this, Brian Krause was Leo, the White Knight on Charmed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he has a cameo in this. Billy Bob Thornton and his band, the Boxmasters, they have a cameo in this. He gave us a couple of songs for the film. So there's these like fun songs that are in the film, these fun sing-along songs. It's just a wacky movie. It's wacky.
Oh, that is so funny. We have such a nice comment from the chat. OMG, Mika still looks like she did in The Patriot, ! Forever young. Excellent. Thank you so much. And then Albert also says hello to you.
Oh, hello.
So you guys, that is so awesome. You got to check out Hollywood.com. I love the movies with Kathleen Turner. There was another one, right? It was Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, Romancing the Stone, and what was Romancing the Stone? And what was the other one?
Jewel of the Nile.
Yes, Jewel of the Nile. Those were such fun. Like you said, it really is kind of this fun escapism. I'm going to read right now because this is the big one. Hollywood.com is an adventure comedy. Every hot production company in Los Angeles is in a race to make the next big Mayan movie. Hurry quick. Sell out your company and do whatever it takes. So, you guys, if out of all your, you have a bevy of movies, we didn't even have time to get to all of them. Out of all of them, which ones would you suggest people binge watch this weekend on Amazon and Amazon Prime?
Ooh, oh my gosh, it's hard. I think we talked about some great ones. I think Mighty Joe Young with Charlize Theron and Bill Paxton is so much fun, so heartfelt. That's a great family movie. Beautiful. You're in Hawaii. If you want something that's a little bit more adult and mysterious, I would go with Hearts in Atlantis, which is the Anthony Hopkins film that is nostalgic about childhood with a little bit of also mystery involved on that. It's written based off of a Stephen King novel. Or you could watch Along Came a Spider that we mentioned. That's so good with Morgan Freeman, and that's more of an action film. There's some kidnapping in it, some wild stuff happening. And then, of course, if you want to escape and want to watch something goofy and have weird characters that are actors with all kinds of random cameos that you recognize from all over, Hollywood.com.
Oh, I'm going to see, for me, I'm going to see The Sleepover on Hollywood.com. So now, Mika, if people want to follow your career, if they want to find out more about you, how would they go about doing that? Like a website, your social media, all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so all of my social media is just under my name. It's Mika Boorem. And I can be found pretty much on all platforms. I also have a website that's under the same address. It's just mikaboorem.com. So come say hello.
Oh, awesome. Well, Mika, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing some of your terrific, wonderful projects with us. Thank you so much for the time that you took to spend with us and for all the people in the chat.
Thank you. This was a total blast. Thank you. It was fun reminiscing about projects with you, and I loved your story about Vern. And oh my gosh, this was fun.
Oh, I know, definitely. Got to come on again. Well, we're gonna say goodbye to Mika. Mika, thank you so much. The rest of you guys in the chat, stay with me, and we are just going to. Didn't we have a good time?